Hi guys, welcome back to my XPS guide. Now I'm gonna review Roy. Like some of you have asked that that Roy is a buffer, so let's compare him to Elephim and Lunera because they are the same bar type buffer on 7 stars character 7 stars base, okay? And like you can see here, Roy, his health is kinda low, okay, only 30%, while Elephim can get 70%. Okay, so Elephim is probably the one that has the most health here. But if you take on defense and spirit, then it is obvious that Roy is really good. Like you can see that his defense boost is 120%. Yes, I know that you need to equip cloth to get that maximum. You need to choose whether you want to boost your defense or spirit. Okay, if you want to boost his defense, then you need to equip him with cloth. Okay, and if you want to boost his spirit, you need to equip him with rope. But that's still pretty good. Even without cloth, he still has 90% defense boost, which is very good. And Lunera here, her spirit is really insane, 170%. And same for her magic. But remember, Lunera is also a magician, so magic stats is useless for Roy and Elephim. And for other abilities, Roy have poison, silence, confuse, and disease resist. This is very good, especially silence, because silence will stop you from singing, but there's no sleep resist. For paralyzed, you will get it on 7 stars form, but for sleep, Roy doesn't have that, so you need to equip him with something that make you resist against sleep. Okay, and for trust ability, you really need to equip his trust master, okay, minstrel's prayer, because it upgrades your LB. His LB is really good because you will see later why that Roy can become a little bit better than Elephim when he has access to this upgrade LB, okay? And Roy doesn't have auto refresh, but as a replacement, he has everlasting song. This will give you 60 MP regen per turn, so it is about to save. And I believe if you equip Roy, if you use Roy, his singing skills won't make your MP goes to 0, okay, because his MP regen is very good. Enough about stats, now let's take a look on his abilities. So let's talk about his cooldown ability on 7 stars form. The first is change repertoire, so this will give you 80% all stats buff and break the enemy's all stats by 55%. So pretty decent, but remember this 2 only lasts for 1 turn. Okay, so it may be a little bit downing. It also recover your health by 4000 health and 40 MP. Quite nice, but again, this is 12 turns cooldown, so I don't think it is that special. Okay, and yeah, it also increase your LB gauge fill rate by 200%. This one is pretty good because Roy need to use his LB frequently if you want to maximize on using him. But I think the most special thing about this change repertoire is it is first it is available on the first turn. Okay, that's important because if you use this on the beginning, your full ballot gonna change into War of the Gods. Before this, on his 6 stars form, you need to use 2 singing skill, Hero's Prologue and Ares Protection, to be able to use this. That means 4 or 3 turns before you're able to use War of the Gods. But after becoming 7 stars, simply use that cooldown ability on first turn and then you can use War of the Gods. And War of the Gods will allow you to use Victory to the Brave Okay, so this, if you upgrade your full ballot into +2, then you have an access to victory to the brave +2. So on +2, this gonna break 50% of enemy stats and buff your stats by 130%. It also grants you nice amount of health and MP regen. So this is how you use Roy. Okay, on the first turn, use your cooldown ability, and then War of the Gods and Victory to the Brave. So after after 3 turns, you will reach your strongest song. The next cooldown ability is Hymn of Salvation. This will recover 100 MP to all allies. This one uses your LP crystals instead of MP. But I think this one is useless because remember that Roy cannot buff others. Cannot stop buffing others because he is a bard type. So that means if you use this, the 100 MP recovery, then it means your party won't have any buff on that turn. So unless you bring 2 buffer, then I think you should forget about this skill. Remember that Roy's Victory to the Brave already recover nice amount of MP per turn, so I don't think you need this one. And for Roy's LB, this is another special thing about him. Okay, so this will give him 134% all stats buff if you manage to max it. But the point is, this LB doesn't have a break. That means if your breaker is Roy, then you probably don't want to use this. Okay, but using this LB, if you have the trust ability, will unlock special ability called Draconic Reverberation. So this ability is very good because it buffs 140% of all stats and break 60% of enemy stats. And yes, that's pretty amazing because once you sing this Draconic Reverberation, then this one will be always available to be cast again when you have stopped singing. And this is why I don't think you should use your LB again after you unlock Draconic Reverberation, because your LP doesn't have built-in break. Okay, so really that kinda downer, especially if you don't have good breaker on your party when you are using Roy. The problem with this Draconic Reverberation is if your Roy get killed in the process. Okay, because that means you need to do the setup again from the beginning. But also remember that your changed repertoire has 12 turns as its cooldown, so you probably need to do the 6-star sequence to keep using your Victory to the Brave or whatever. Also, other than cooldown ability, he learns 2 singing skill. The first is Marching Firelay or whatever, but yeah, this one is also pretty good. This buff attack and defense 140% and break enemies attack and defense by 55%. So that's only if you haven't used your Victory to Brave. If you use your Victory to the Brave, then the buff become 180%, which are probably the highest on this game. But I think the break capabilities are kinda useless. Okay, because just think about it, it breaks attack and defense. Like I said, you want to have attack and magic pair for breaks, not attack and defense. This gonna hurt him. Okay, and it also gives you 25% physical damage mitigation, so pretty good, but 25% probably hardly useful at all. And the next is Mystic Lemon. This is also same like Marching Firelay. but this one buff your magic and break enemy spirit. Okay, only, yeah, the effects are same, 65% break and 180% all stats buff. Okay, so yeah, very good, but again the pairing can become a little bit troublesome because right now the enemy always use both magic and physical attack, so you probably can die taking the damage from the threshold attack. Enough about abilities, now let's take a look on his equipment. So Roy equipment is kind of easy because you only need to pay attention on his survivability, so health, defense, and spirit. He doesn't need that attack and magic because he is not an attacker, so feel free to equip him with a weapon that gives you highest spirit stats because he able to regenerate health and MP, so you want to maximize that MP regen. For head and body, then yes, Mistral's Prayer is probably the best for Roy because remember, you need to upgrade his LB to utilize him to the max. Okay, so basically the rest are free for you to decide because yeah, basically you only need him to survive. Okay, so you don't need to do any damage using Roy, so you are free to gear him up. Okay, so my conclusion for Roy, so like you have known that I don't like Bard type buffer, and yes, I also don't like Roy, but I must admit that both Roy and Elephim are good because they can also break the enemies. Okay, but if you ask me which one is better, then I must say Elephim is the winner because Elephim can start breaking right from the beginning. Okay, and her break is really good because remember, Elephim can buff your defense and spirit, start from the beginning, and break the enemy's attack and magic. Those are the combination that we need the most. Okay, also Elephim buff your defense and spirit by 140% and break 55% attack and magic. For Roy, it is not that good. And remember, you need to do a sequence after that. But for Elephim, you simply stick with that spiritual rondo, okay? 140% defense and spirit buff and 55% break on attack and magic while waiting your LB to be full, okay? When your LB full, then Elephim become really good buffer and breaker because man, she breaks 75% of all stats to all enemies, and that's pretty amazing. Okay, but for Roy, it is not like that. If you get hit and killed on the battle, then you need to reset. I mean, you need to start with Hero's Prologue, which is not a bad buff ability, but it doesn't have any breaking capabilities, so you need to bring another character to break. Okay, so unlike Elephim, Roy is not that flexible. Okay, so it is clear I can only give Roy maybe 8 out of 10, but for Elephim, I have said on her review video that I give her 9, maybe 9.5 out of 10. Okay, so now for Roy Trustmaster reward, it is really good head for mages or healer. But the problem is you can find the budget replacement. For magic boost, you can find Royal Crown, and for spirit, you can simply equip Frozen Crown. Okay, so those two have higher spirit than magic and spirit compared to this Trustmaster reward. Okay, but yes, maybe it is better on an evoker because evoker need to have both magic and spirit boost. For super Trustmaster reward, it is bad. Okay, maybe niche because I don't think any character can use harp really good. Okay, for Roy, yes, it will be nice, but yeah, basically it only gives you more survivability, so nothing that important. Okay, so yeah, what I really don't like for Roy is, yeah, he need a setup, and yeah, I know that Elephim need a setup too, but her setup is not as complicated as Roy. And yeah, I think 8 is the correct score for Roy. Okay, Elepim. So yep, I think that's all you need to know. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more Final Fantasy Prep Experience Guide. Bye bye guys.